Welcome to Stagepass. My name is Michael Monahan, and my guest this week is, well, it's me. This is so strange to be interviewing myself for this. First of all, I want to thank all of the listeners that we've had for the podcast. Just so you know, we have launched over 2,000 instances of the podcast over just 12 episodes, and that to me is really remarkable, and I'm just so happy that people are finding it and tuning in and apparently liking it. So thank you, listeners, first and foremost. Also want to thank all of the entertainers that have agreed to do the show so far. We've just had some tremendous guests, and we had a very interesting top three, probably not much of a surprise, but I will tell you what that is right now. The number 3 most listened to podcast that we had was my interview with Andrew McNeely from Sea of Souls. Gosh, that's such a good band, and Andrew's a tremendous songwriter, and it was a real thrill to have interviewed him. Even if we had to do it, I can't remember if we did it 2 or 3 times before I got my equipment to function the way that I needed to, but Andrew was a great guest, and I appreciate his time and effort. Number 2 most listened to podcast of this season was Lewis Jones, my old former partner, and now a renowned and internationally known artist. Lewis was gracious enough to have me come into his gallery. We did the interview there. The first time I've done one remote like that. And it was a lot of fun, and it was just great to see Lewis again. So he was number 2. And probably no surprise to his fans for sure. Number 1 most listened to podcast we've had so far this season belonged to Chuck Larson from Snuff. Chuck was a very engaging interview, and I really enjoyed talking to him on that level and getting to talk about things that we shared in common and things about him that I didn't know. And he shared some tremendous music with us. So Chuck Larson, congratulations. You were our most listened to podcast this year. Gosh, it's just been, I tell you, it has been such a learning curve. I should also thank everybody for that. Thanks for putting up with me learning how to do this. When we started out, my very first interview with the Jolly Roger Duo, we did at the studios at WHRO. And man, that's an incredible setup. Guaranteed perfect sound because it's already pre-mixed, not by me. And Bill and Randy met me at the station. Barry Graham engineered the session. There was just nothing that I could screw up, at least on that one. The problem is, and I saw right away that getting 2 or more people at WHRO at a time that was also convenient to Barry, because Barry does so much at WHRV that it just seemed to me the better option would be for me to set up at home to do these. I had most of the equipment anyway, and what I did need to buy wasn't very much. The problem was it had been years since I had done this kind of thing, and I made some mistakes along the way. I've finally now gotten to where I have something that I know will work, and I'm pretty much able to do these, and I hope over the last few episodes that we've done, you've been able to hear a difference in the quality of the recordings, because I had a couple of stinkers this season, and that's all on me, and I apologize. Oh, goodness. Upcoming guests for next year. I'm really excited about my first guest in January. His name is James Lee Stanley. He has recorded 37 albums. He's recorded with Peter Tork, with Cliff Eberhard, with John Batdorf. And he's released, among his albums are some collaborations where he does his interpretations of other artists' songs. One of them, the very first one that I ever heard from him, was called All Wood and Doors, and it was acoustic versions of songs by The Doors. And The Doors' original drummer, John Densmore, plays on the album, and so does their guitarist, Robbie Krieger. It's a great album, and he followed that up with 2 albums called All Wood and Stones, which were all Rolling Stone songs. Also a tremendous record. The last one of these that he has done was called All Wood and Lead, and it's his versions of Led Zeppelin songs. Now, I was real leery about that one because their sound was so iconic, and I can't believe it, but he actually did arrangements of Led Zeppelin songs, including things like Good Times, Bad Times, Whole Lotta Love, that sound fantastic. He's an amazing guy. He spent time here in the Norfolk area when he was younger, and in fact, he was the original owner and creator of an establishment called the Folk Ghetto, which was in downtown Norfolk off of Freemason Street, and that's where Emmylou Harris used to play. And I believe Chuck Larson and Robbie House also played at that venue in its earlier days. So James was a tremendous interview. We've already completed it. He gave me 3 new songs that haven't been released yet that will be coming out on his next album, and they're wonderful songs. So that will be our first show in January. Also coming up in January, a lady I'm really excited about. Her name is Abby Palmer, and she's a harpist, a harp player. And I know when I say harp player, most musicians think of that as a blues harmonica player. She really is a harpist. She plays a classical harp, but she does it and plays all kinds of music on it. I've seen videos of her playing bluegrass, blues, rock, and with a full symphony orchestra. She's an amazing talent. She's just released her 4th CD. Her voice is, I don't know if she's got Julie Andrews range, but it's approaching that. She's got at least over an octave of range above her natural key. And her songs are very, very good. So Abby will be one of my guests in January. We also just have gotten a commitment from local artist Shane Cooley, tremendous singer-songwriter. He'll be on the show in January. And last but not least, I know that Jacob Vanko and I have talked several times about this. Jacob is trying to get his latest project completed before he comes on the show, and hopefully we'll be able to get that done in January as well. So an exciting month coming up to start off season 2 of the podcast, which, by the way, is now available on iHeartRadio in addition to Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. So if you listen to your podcasts on either of those 4 formats, you can find us just by searching for Stagepass. It's been a tremendous experience doing this, and I'm really loving it. It's a lot more work than I thought it would be, but it's fun. So I'm looking forward to next season and sharing my conversations with some of the incredible talent that we have here in the area. All right, last but not least for this week, I always include music in these, and since I don't have a guest outside of myself, I'm going to take a real fashion risk here and share with you a song of mine. This was actually written in 1980 when I was in San Francisco, and I'll never forget it. I passed a girl in the airport who was on the rolling walkway. I was walking on the concrete, and she was so beautiful. I actually stopped to buy something I didn't need in one of the stores so I could pass her again. And then as it turned out, when I got to the gate, she was a friend of the person that I was there to meet. And we became friends, and then we became more than friends. And she was just a wonderful, wonderful lady from London, and I wrote a song for her. And Gregg House and I went into a studio, and I'm thinking it must have been mid-'80s by the time we did this, and we recorded a version of the song. The song is called Sarah. I don't know why Milton Beaton, our drummer, and Dave Green, our bass player, who were all in Paris with us at that time, I don't know why they weren't in the studio with us. I know when we played the song live, they didn't play on it. That may be the reason. The other reason may be that both Dave and Milton had daytime jobs that they both eventually retired from, whereas Gregg and I were spending our days on the roof of Hague Towers drinking vodka and smoking cigarettes while sitting in the hot tub. So that could be why they weren't there too. We recorded it in a studio in Virginia Beach that, to my best recollection, was somewhere off of Cleveland Avenue or in that general area of Wichita and Cleveland Avenue. I don't remember the name of the studio, and I don't remember the name of the producer, but I did find a fairly pristine copy of the song, and I'm going to share that with you now. This is Gregg House on piano and background vocal, and myself on guitars and lead vocal, and the song is called Sarah.
God only knows how I found you. I only know you were there, twisting and turning, a pirouette lighter than air. Not a care Nothing can hold me back now. From Sarah. You can pretend not to notice the damage that's done with your smile. The wanting that flashes like lightning in every man's eyes. They're not lies, just more broken hearts that fell here before, knowing no more than I know. Nothing is holding me down. Nothing can hold me back now. From Sarah. Twisting and turning inside of me, something so real, so real. Not a broken heart that fell here before, knowing no more than I know. Nothing is holding me down. Nothing can hold me back now. From Sarah. From Sarah.
Thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. And I want to wish you all a very happy holiday season and a wonderful new year. And we will see you again in January. This is Michael Monahan for Stagepass, brought to you each week by the Jones Art Gallery, located in the Town Center area of Virginia Beach.